Hello, my name's Kevin, and this is a phenomenal book about facilitation and how to make your groups work very effectively. And there's an excellent introduction here, talking about facilitation being a whole range of skills and ingredients, and a deep belief in the wisdom and creativity of people. A search for synergy and overlapping goals, the ability to listen openly and actively, a working knowledge of group dynamics, a deep belief in the inherent power of groups and teams, a respect for individuals and their points of view, patience, and a high tolerance for ambiguity to let a decision evolve and gel, strong interpersonal and collaborative problem-solving skills, an understanding of thinking processes, and a flexible versus a lockstep approach to resolving issues and making decisions. So, facilitative behaviors and skills are essential for anyone who wants to work collaboratively in groups and organizations today. Facilitative skills honor, enhance, and focus the wisdom and knowledge that lay dormant in most groups. These skills are essential to healthy organizations. Esprit de corps, fair and lasting agreements, and to easily implement actions and plans. Anyone wanting to increase their understanding of group dynamics and improve their skill at making groups work more effectively will benefit from this excellent book. So those who work with and lead organizations today have learned two lasting lessons in the last 25 years of concerted action research in this field of organizational development and change. Lesson one, if people don't participate in and own the solution to the problems or agree to the decision, implementation will be half-hearted at best, probably misunderstood, and more likely than not, will fail. So the second lesson is that the key differentiating factor in the success of an organization is not just the products and services, not its technology or market share, but the organization's ability to elicit, harness, and focus the vast intellectual capital and goodwill resident in their members, employees, and stakeholders. When that intellectual capital and goodwill get energized and focused, the organization becomes a powerful force for positive change in today's business and societal environments. Applying these two lessons has become a key element of what we have begun to think of as the learning organization. So how do these leaders and their organizations apply these two lessons? By creating psychologically safe and involving group environments where people can identify and solve problems, plan together, make collaborative decisions, and resolve their own conflicts, troubleshoot, and self-manage as responsible adults. Facilitation enables the organization's teams, groups, and meetings to be much more productive. And the side benefits of empowerment or self-facilitated groups are terrific. A sense of empowerment, a deepening of personal commitment to decisions and plans, increased organizational loyalty, and the building of esprit de corps, as mentioned earlier. Nowhere are these two lessons more put into practice than in groups. The world meets a lot. There are over 25 million meetings every day in the United States and over 85 million worldwide every day. Making both our work in groups and civic groups work much more effectively is a lifelong challenge, as rich as the personalities that people them. Thus, what's called group literacy, an awareness of and strong skills in group dynamics, meeting facilitation and consensus building tools, like the ones in this book, is essential to increasing the effectiveness of group meetings. They enable groups to work smarter, harder, deeper, faster. These tools help build healthier groups, organizations, and communities. Facilitative mindsets, behaviors, and tools are some of the essential ingredients of high-commitment, high-performance organizations. They are critical to making real what we've come to think of as the learning organization. These skills and behaviors are aligned with people's higher selves. People naturally want to learn them in order to increase their own personal effectiveness in groups and in their families, as well as to increase the effectiveness of groups themselves. They also talk later about just comparing those two different styles. For instance, participatory groups, in them, everyone participates, not just the vocal few. Whereas conventional groups, the fastest thinkers and more articulate speakers get more airtime. Isn't that often the case? People give each other room to think and get their thoughts all the way out with participatory groups. Conventional, people interrupt each other on a regular basis. Have you seen that happen? Participatory groups, opposing views are allowed to coexist in the room. And there's different ways of structuring it to make that happen. Whereas conventional type of groups, differences of opinion are treated as conflict that must either be stifled or solved. Compare, people draw each other out with supportive questions like, is this what you mean? Versus questions are often perceived as challenges, as if the person being questioned has done something wrong. Each member makes the effort to pay attention to the person speaking. How about that? Whereas conventional groups, unless the speaker captivates their attention, people space out, doodle, or check the clock. So, participatory groups, people are able to listen to each other's ideas because they know their own ideas will also be heard. Whereas in the regular type of meetings, people have difficulty listening to each other's ideas because they're busy rehearsing what they want to say. Has that ever happened to you? It's happened to me before when I was doing that. Each member speaks up on matters of controversy. Everyone knows where everyone stands in participatory groups, whereas in the others, some people remain quiet on controversial matters. No one really knows where everyone stands, so it's kind of these hidden agendas going on. Participatory groups, members can accurately represent each other's point of view, even when they don't agree with them. Whereas in conventional, people rarely give accurate representations of the opinions and reasoning of those whose opinions are at odds with their own. So compare, people refrain from talking behind each other's backs. What is the norm very often? Because they don't feel permission to be direct during the meeting, people talk behind each other's backs outside the meeting. Has that ever happened? So, participatory groups, even in the face of opposition from the person in charge, people are encouraged to stand up for their beliefs. Excellent. Whereas often people with discordant minority perspectives are commonly discouraged from speaking out, right, in conventional groups. So, a problem, compare this, a problem is not considered solved until everyone who will be affected by the solution understands the reasoning. Compare that to, a problem is considered solved as soon as the fastest thinkers have reached an answer. Everyone else is then expected to get on board, regardless of whether he or she understands the logic of the decision, right? Just get along, right? Majority rule, just don't be a stick in the mud. And the last one here, participatory groups. When people make an agreement, it is assumed that the decision still reflects a wide range of perspectives. Whereas in conventional groups, when people make an agreement, it is assumed that they are all thinking the exact same thing. But how? Is that really true? Do any two people think exactly the same way about an issue? There's so many facets, especially a decision that's made. So as the table implies, a shift from conventional values to participatory values is not a simple matter of saying, let's become a thinking team. No, it requires a change of mindset, a committed effort from a group to swim against the tide of prevailing values and assumptions. When a group undertakes this challenge, its participants often benefit from the services of a competent facilitator who can provide help in this area. Left to their own devices, many groups will slip back into conventional habits. A facilitator, however, has the skills to help a group outgrow their old familiar patterns. Specifically, a facilitator encourages full participation. He/she promotes mutual understanding. He/she fosters inclusive solutions and cultivates shared responsibility. These four functions are derived from the core values of participatory decision-making. In-person participation is the best way to learn these new patterns of how to be a member of the group and wholeheartedly give your ideas in a safe environment, or as well to have a turn at being a facilitator and seeing what that's like to help foster mutually supportive decisions. And I will be going into each of these in depth as part of this ongoing video series and the seminars that will be taking place.